Hello everyone and welcome to the Bearded Geeks, the weekly grab bag of topics covering movies, comics, video games, and TV. My name is Jages, I am the Beard Master. Today, I've got the marvellous Patrick Brown with me. Patrick Brown, how you doing?
G'day, good mate, how are you?
How are you, sweetheart?
Going well.
That's good. Mate, we've got an interesting topic today. You know, normally we sit down and we talk about a movie we've seen or something that's coming up or whatever. But today I want to do something a little bit different, and this is spurned on by something that happened a week ago between us. But I kind of want to talk about collecting, like collecting things.
Yep.
And particularly being an adult collector.
Yeah.
And like kind of how people are different in their collecting ways, like how you're different to me.
Yeah.
You collect things differently the way I do. And, you know, kind of how society looks at it and, you know, what does it mean to be a collector and why do we do it and how society has changed and has started to tailor itself and businesses and that tailoring themselves towards collectors or adult collectors or the adult collector market.
I can't believe we haven't talked about it before because it's such a big part of our lives, isn't it?
Well, we talk about the Beard Cave quite often. I've got a lot on display here. I still promise some photos. I actually put one photo up before starting to show off the Beard Cave, the Fight Club poster. Yeah. And there will be more to come. And you were trying to buy my alien figure off me on the last show.
I'm still eyeballing it.
I know you've got like a line of sight on
Every time I sit down here, I'm like, damn, that looks good.
It's fucking sexy, isn't it?
Because it's so big. It's tall. It's really, It's good.
That's fucking sexy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting that hit, aren't you?
Oh,
You're like, ooh, I need it.
I am.
I want one like it, or I want that exact one.
Because like when I leave, usually I'll go and start looking at alien figures on eBay or something like that.
So it's like, I wonder if I can find one. But yeah, like I make no secret that I am an adamant collector of things. And because we are a pop culture podcast, that pretty much falls into, like, I feel like that's kind of what society kind of narrows its focus on. Like, if you're an adult man and then somebody finds out that you buy action figures for a living, they kind of look at you funny. Yeah. Like, you spend all your money on toys.
Yeah, some people still do, don't they?
They're not toys, mate.
But if you look at, like you said, if you look at the way pop culture has changed over the last decade or even more, it's definitely... there's just whole industries for it now. You got Sideshow Collectibles, you got Hot Toys.
You got Funko.
That didn't really
Pop
exist.
Vinyls, yeah.
That didn't really exist back when we were in like college, and like we were still collectors back then, but we just couldn't buy anything because it didn't exist.
Yeah, and we didn't have the money.
Yeah, and now it's just everywhere.
It's literally everywhere.
For anything, your favorite movies or games, there's always a figure for it or something. So.
Or anything you're into. Yeah. It just happens for us. We fall into the pop culture category.
And I love it. I'm stoked that there's so much stuff out there that we can just get at any time, you know?
Absolutely.
Especially when you can, pay as you go or...
Oh, yeah, like all the different payment options and payment plans and that you can do for stuff now. They just make it really hard.
Afterpay, that's
like we have Afterpay in Australia.
I love it.
You know, 4 easy fucking fortnightly payments
and you get
or whatever.
it straight away.
Yeah, get it straight away. You know, it's kind of a black hole you can fall into.
That's dangerous.
But let's go back to the beginning because, like, we've made no, secret of the fact that, like, you know, when you were a kid, you used to collect, like, Yowies and stuff.
Yeah.
Which was, like, for anyone who doesn't know, Yowies in Australia are like a Kinder Surprise. So you would literally get, like, a chocolate, well, it was shaped like a Yowie, like a little Yowie-ish character. Yeah, you crack it open, there's a capsule inside, and there would be pieces inside where you could collect, like, different, like, Australian animals.
Yeah.
So it was also educational and stuff as well, because they would have, like, little slips of paper in there where they would have the photo of the animal. There'd be, like, a little bio, tells you where it comes from, what kind of animal it is. It'd have, like, a little map of Australia and show it where it's, relevant to in, like, the country and stuff. But that was one thing you collected. But, like, take me back to the beginning, like, when you were a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, you were a kid that grew up, like, you had, like, a lot of brothers and sisters and stuff, and, like, you guys didn't have, like, a lot of money and stuff and that growing up. So, like, you know, when we were kids, we never really, like, focused on things and collected them. Like, it wasn't probably until, you're like, kind of like the mid-90s, like, for us, where collecting sort of became relevant. Like, companies didn't put out stuff for a collector market. They just put stuff out and people just collect shit because that's what people do. Like, we collect stuff. So, like, what's kind of the first real memory for you? Like, something you remember collecting, like, when you were a young kid?
Well, I think that the Yowies was definitely the first time I really knew that I was a collector, because... So it all started when I was, I don't know what it would have been, like 94 or 5 or something like that, when they all came out. And
yeah, we were 10, 11, something like that, 9, 10,
and
11.
I think I get it from my mum. She's a bit of a collector / hoarder as well. Not hoarder. She just liked to get things as well, and she'd collect as well. So she had certain things. She used to go to a lot of garage sales, things like that, and just
what sort of things did your mum collect?
Stuff. Yeah, it was weird because it wasn't really certain things. It was always just like stuff, but interesting stuff, not just I don't know.
She wasn't just like a regular consumer who'd go out and be like, "Oh, let's get a new couch," or "Let's get a new, tablecloth," or something like that.
Yeah,
she was kind of nichey or nixie. What's the word?
Decorative stuff, things like that for the house. It was always just house stuff, or and she loved it, and I think I got that in me as well. So when Yowies came out, and I just loved the idea of them at the start, and plus they were big at the time. They were
huge when they launched here in Australia, yeah.
Everyone in school had them, and you could just go and take all your Yowie collection there and swap and match, and it was a real buzz all the time. And so, my Yowie collection started to get pretty big, and they're hard to get though, because obviously, I couldn't buy one like all the time, just on occasion. And
it was a random thing as well. So like you would get doubles and swaps and that all the time.
Yeah, and they were that big that even, the markets that, Penguin Market or the Don Market, there would be a whole stall there just for Yowies. There was they were crazy, and you could and they were selling rare ones for, like $40 or something each and things like that, because they were pretty pricey, but...
They put them in little Ziploc bags where you get the figure and you get the slip of paper and that in there with the info and all that sort of stuff, and it's complete. This is complete, this one. Yeah.
So it was quite strong with me there. The collective side was just... I really just thrived on Yowies. I loved them, and it was really a bond that me and Mum had as well. So she was big on them as well. So I'd take them back, and we'd sit on the bed and just put them all out, and Mum would... we'd sort them out together and make sure they're all organised properly, and look for the rare ones, things like that.
Was it you first, or was it your mum that collected them, or was it kind of both at the same time?
I think it was kind of both at the same time, but mostly me at the start, I think, probably because it was like a kid thing, but Mum just got real into it as well. She
did it because that was something that you guys shared together.
And we'd go out together and find them at garage sales, things like that. Like people would just put them in the toy box, and we'd be like, "Oh, look, they don't even know this is a bloody good one."
Yeah,
and then we'd get
this is a rare cockatoo.
Get it for like 20 cents or something like that. And then, but yeah, it was a real thing that me and my mum had. So it was when they phased out and Yowies were gone over the years, and we didn't really collect them anymore. But and then Mum, passed away a few years later, and then. So it was just one of those things that we always had together. So when they came back, recently?
In the last couple of years,
2016 or something,
like
came
year
back.
Before last,
And
you were mad on it, because we talked about it on the show. You were mad on
I know.
it, yeah.
My eyes lit up. I was like, oh, I need them. Even before that, right? So before they even came back.
You kept talking. I remember you talking about it. You're like, I wish Yowies would come back.
Well, there was one, it was kind of embarrassing, really, because there was a time when Leah, my wife, we went to the Penguin Market just for a random look. I think we were just driving through.
Just for a drive, yeah?
Yeah, and I just found there was this one little batch left. I don't know why, but there's just some collector there, and they had this in the bottom shelf, hidden right at the back, that little stash of Yowies, a whole box, and I was like... Oh, I really want them, and they had like $40 or $50 on them for the whole lot. Even though they're worth nothing now, I really just had that urge. It just hit me like a ton of bricks.
But emotionally, it was worth something to you.
Exactly, emotionally, I was like, because the first thing I thought was, Mum would be so happy to see these.
If Mum was here with me right now, we'd be, look at this, that's a whole bag.
And I was pretty much like begging for them. I was like, I really want to get these, and she's like, it's nothing though. It's like $40-something for nothing, and it's understandable because it's just they're not. But
to you might see it as nothing, but to me, this is everything.
Yeah, and Alira understood straight away, and she's like, "Oh, that's fine. Go ahead.
Right, go on then."
Yeah, and so I bought this big box, got them home, and I had a little bit of a look through, and I spread them all out on the lounge room floor, and had a look through, and yeah.
I remember you texted me and said, "Look at this, mate! I just got this massive bag of yowies," and I was just like, "Oh fuck!"
And then Mark, I think, had a big shoebox full of them.
Our mate Mark, who's been on the podcast previous, our thing and Pet Cemetery episodes, and
he
stuff.
surprised me like a few years back, and he brought them back, a whole box for me. And
we were in the car, and Mark had been to his parents' house to visit them, and we picked him up or something. I think we picked him up, and he had him in the back of the car. And I think you were driving or you were in the passenger seat. And he's like, "Oh, Paddy, I've got something for you." He's like, "I've just been down to Mum and Dad's and I've been through all the stuff." And he's like, "I found this." And he passes you like this shoebox. And you open it and it's literally just like all the yowies he collected when he was younger.
Oh.
And you just lit up.
It was like Christmas.
Like fireworks. You're like, "Oh my God. Do you, like, I can have this?" Because you thought he was just showing you.
I know.
And he's like, "Nah, they're for you, man. Like, you can have them." You're like, "What? Really?"
I know.
And you were like a kid on Christmas. Like,
I know.
30-year-old man who lit up like a 5-year-old. Like, it was adorable.
Do you know one of my best memories, I'd say, while we're on the Yowies? I'd say it's way back when I was 10, I think 10. And Mum took me to Melbourne. Dad had to have an operation. But while we were there, we found this little, just a supermarket or shop somewhere, but they had yowies on sale and they were 50 cents each. It was like, that was, because they're usually $1.60 or $2.
Yeah, they were $1.60, $2.
And
back then that was a lot.
That was one of the best memories because me and Mum both were just like, "Oh," and we both rushed. And we're like shaking the yowies. You can shake them, and you can actually. I used to have a talent for that, by the way.
You were the yowie whisperer.
I could actually tell if it was a yowie man or if it was a animal, and like because the yowie men are the rare ones.
Yeah, because with the yowies, like when they put them out, there were like 6 different yowies. They're all different colors and stuff.
Yeah,
and like the majority of the collectibles you would get were like Australian wildlife and stuff.
Yeah.
Animal, cockatoos, birds, frogs, all that sort of stuff. Kangaroos. But then they had like 6 of these little yowie figures that you could collect. They were like rare ones.
And you got to get them all.
And you had it. Got to catch them all.
Got to get them all.
And you had like a talent for shaking them and that. And
like literally 100% of the time, I could tell. And I used to have kids from school who'd come up and get me to do it for them. It was like turned into a bit of I was the guy, go to, and I'd find them and they'd buy it and they'd be like, "You're right, it was the yowie man." Yeah. But anyway, no, that was a good moment in Melbourne. Yeah.
Weren't you doing that a couple of years ago?
Because they were so cheap, me and Mum bought like
whole box,
like 20 of them or something.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so no, it was good. But yowies are definitely
that was like the major thing for you when you were a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there anything else? Because I remember you telling me you had like a few Masters of the Universe figures. Like
I don't know if
He-Man
you remember.
Stuff,
I mean, it's not really another toy thing, but like Tarzos were big. I used to collect the whole book and get
Tarzos.
The collector in me was coming out big time then, and the Dragon Ball Z things that were out, and you used to get like you want to get the strongest power and stuff like that, and collected all them. But
if you don't know what Tarzos are, just Google them. Tazos.
Yeah,
they used to bring out like themed ones. So they bring out like Looney Tunes Tarzos and Star Wars Tarzos, and they were kind of like Pogs, but better.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they were good.
Yeah, I used to get Tarzos. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned.
You used to get them in chips. Like you buy a packet of chips and there'd be a Tarzo inside. And you pull them out. They had like Space Jam ones and that too when Space Jam came out.
Yeah, you mentioned Masters of the Universe. That's a big throwback. I wasn't really a collector, and I was only about 4 or 5, but I used to love. I had like a whole set of those with the big castle and stuff. And yeah, I was telling you before, I took my son Mason down to the Antique Emporium, and the collector in me came out again. They were all there. Everything was there, and He-Man and everything, and
they had some He-Man figures there for sale.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, because it's all. There's like a 90s section or 80s section in there.
Oh, sweet.
There's a whole section of the decades.
I'm going.
Yeah, and it had everything. It had all the old Ninja Turtles stuff there.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, I'm going.
Transformers. Oh, you would have loved it.
What are you doing?
There's a whole wrestling section.
What are you doing
there
on Saturday?
Yeah, I know.
Let's go.
But when I was there, I was like, oh, I really would love it. Like, even though I'm not going to do anything with them, I just collect them and put them on a shelf.
It's the attachment.
It's the bond, yeah, the attachment from childhood.
It's the memory.
Exactly. Even though, like, the He-Man was going for about $40.
Yeah.
Just by itself. And it's just this used figure that's probably been through about 4 different children and, like, households and stuff over the years, you know.
Lived at the bottom of a box for years.
Yeah. So... Yeah, but I didn't get anything. I was just looking at it all, and Mason. I let Mason pick anything he wanted out of toy. There were just ones there for like 50 cents or $2 or whatever.
Yeah,
he loved it. He just got himself a Batman.
Sweet.
Christian Bale Batman.
Oh, sweet. Yep. Yeah. Well, for me, when I was a kid, like, you know, I when I was like quite young, like 6, 7, 8. Yeah. You know, it was trading cards. So it was like basketball cards. It was, you know, whatever movie came out, they brought cards out for. I distinctly remember being 4 or 5 years old and going to our takeaway / video shop. And they had the Batman 89 trading cards on the counter. Oh, nice. And I have this memory. I was literally like 4 years old, 5 years old. I was Mason's age. And
I think I remember those too.
I remember going there and being with Dad, and my sister was there, and Dad bought us some Batman trading cards. And like this was the old days where trading cards used to come in wax paper wrappers, and they had a piece of bubblegum inside, and you would have the piece of bubblegum. But then,
and you can never tell what's in it. It's black, wasn't it, with the Batman logo?
Yeah, I've got some out in the lounge. I'll show you when we're done.
Open it up, and then you see what you got.
Yeah, I'll show you. I've got a couple of packets out there in the lounge.
Yeah.
But yeah, you open like the wax wrappers and that, and there's a piece of bubblegum inside. But then you could always like smell the cards because they smelled like bubblegum. Yeah. Afterwards. So yeah, like trading cards were big for me when I was younger. Yeah. I collected like many different Spider-Man sets or X-Men trading cards.
Yeah,
I remember there was like a 96 X-Men trading card set, and there was 101 cards, and I ended up getting them all. Just collecting them, like back when you could buy a packet of cards and it was like 60 cents for a packet of cards.
Yep.
And I remember like trading the odd card or whatever, and I ended up getting the whole set. I had the entire 101 card set of these X-Men trading cards. But you know, it was like marbles and stuff. Like, I had a bag of marbles, and not that I particularly collected marbles. Like, I'd go out and, like, I need to get all the marbles. But I remember just, like, the satisfaction of, like, getting a new marble. Or, like, you know, when you used to get, like, the real big ones and that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I had, like, this speckly space-looking one. And that was, like, my marble. Like, that was one unique one that I had.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a collection thing, but not so much. It was more just like owning something, and that was yours. That was your one thing.
Yep.
You know, but like the real big thing that kind of kicked off my collecting was comics.
Yep.
So like I remember like the very first comic I bought on my own that I saw on like, because this was back in the day when you would buy your comics at the newsagent. So you would go to the newsagent and they had like a little comic book section and you'd buy your comics and stuff. And I remember like being down home and like I got an issue of like Batman from the 90s. I remember the cover. I remember the issue. I saw it on eBay a while back and I was going to buy it actually. Yeah. But it was like the very first comic that I like ever picked up and decided to buy on my own because it had a striking cover was Sensational Spider-Man issue 2.
Oh yeah.
And on the cover it had a skull like surrounded by smoke. And it had like a torn Spider-Man mask like over the top, but like the jaw was exposed, so you could see like the skull jaw. And I was just like, wow, it's just like a striking cover. And I bought that, and pretty much from then on I just collected Spider-Man comics.
Yeah, cool.
Like every Spider-Man comic I saw I wanted. Like I never always got them because, you know, when I was a kid I'd get pocket money like every couple of weeks or once a month, but it was like $10.
Yeah.
And this was back in the day when comics were like $2. So I could go and buy like 4 or 5 Spider-Man comics for the $10. And that was it. That was me. I had like 4 or 5 new comics to read and pore over and, you know, just consume.
Yeah.
But, you know, I kind of went on, and because Spider-Man had lots of different titles, numerous titles in the 90s. So I just collected Spider-Man comics. And my brother collected X-Men comics. So he collected X-Men, I collected Spider-Man, and I was pretty much just set on Spider-Man for years. Like, you've seen my Spider-Man comic collection. I pulled it out. I still have
massive.
them. I pulled it out and I've showed them to you over the years. We used to buy like folders, like folders you put your papers and shit and that in, but we put our comics in them, and like we flip through these folders. Like, I've still got all the folders like that I bought 25, years ago or whatever in the cupboard in there. They're all the same. They haven't changed. You just go and buy a $2 folder and you can put 30 comics in it, back to back. So really for me, it was like comics.
Yep.
And I collected Spider-Man comics specifically.
Mm.
So I've got like a real attachment to like 90s Spider-Man, like especially like Ben Reilly and when he became Spider-Man and Scarlet Spider, and when he went from Scarlet Spider to Spider-Man and he had like the new suit and his web shooters were on the outside and it was so fucking cool. And then as I got a little bit older, you get the odd action figure and stuff and that there. But it wasn't until I got to like 16, 17 was when I really started to move toward movies.
Yeah.
And I stopped collecting comics. And I pretty much like exclusively became like a movie nut for like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And all I collected was movies. I bought movies, I bought DVDs. Like, even if I picked something up and I had just like a passing interest in it, like, this looks interesting, I just bought it and watched it.
You had a whole wall of just DVDs.
I remember like the count I did, I had like 600 DVDs.
I used to come visit you. It was just so impressive. It was just a big mountain of just... And they're all organised and in order and everything,
Yeah, like, I collected movies exclusively.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like... I still collect movies and that. I buy like 4K movies and that. I bought 2 yesterday.
Yeah.
New releases. But now, like, my habits have changed. Like, now that I'm an adult and I have a job and I earn my own money and that, my habits have changed. So, yeah, I still buy movies and stuff, but not like I used to. Not like exclusively.
Yeah.
Now I buy like more figures and stuff, but I buy more like collectible pieces and that now.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not exclusively on, but one product or company or, like, range I like to buy are Hot Toys.
Yep.
And that's actually what inspired this episode. Because last week, because obviously it's leading up to Christmas, it's the silly season, and I was on one of my, like, local Australian sites, like, which I have bookmarked, like, on my phone. I was just having a look. Or I was on Instagram, and they had an article, or, like, an ad on there. And they had, for like one day only, they had like 20% off Hot Toys. And it's real like particular as well. Like the 20% off doesn't apply to figures that are on sale. And that's majority of them. And the sale doesn't apply to figures that are for pre-order. So it's pretty much any Hot Toy figure or any Hot Toy range that aren't on sale, that is at their standard fixed price. And so 20% off, like that's a lot for a Hot Toy,
because they're pricey, yeah.
And I went in and had a look, and I've got a few Hot Toys. I've got like 9 Hot Toys, and they're ones I've bought over like the last probably 5-6 years.
Yeah,
like I'm not like I see these like Hot Toy collectors on like YouTube and shit, and I see them getting like new They pretty much exclusively buy like 90% Hot Toys, and they're getting like 3 Hot Toys a week. And I'm like, where the fuck do you get the money from for these? Because the average Hot Toy, like in Australia, like, converted for Australian currency, is minimum $300.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, no 10-year-old kid's going to go out and spend $300 on a fucking Hot Toy. They're
made for adults.
At the adult market.
Yep.
Now, last week I saw, like I was just saying, I was a 90s kid. I love Spider-Man. I had a massive attachment to Ben Reilly, but I've got a huge attachment to the Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
You bought me a Scarlet Spider pop vinyl for my birthday, what was it, last year, the year before?
Yeah.
And that's sitting down there, just here on the shelf in the Beard Cave. And for the new Spider-Man game, they're bringing out a range of all the different costumes, and they had the Scarlet Spider costume there. It wasn't on sale. It was its fixed price. It was quite expensive because it's an exclusive figure. And it was like $460 or something. It's really expensive.
Yeah.
And with the 20% off it had like $90 off it. And I messaged you straight away. I was like, there's a fucking sale on Hot Toys. I'm going to get this Scarlet Spider one. And you're like, oh, you're an enabler.
You were
you're
like, guess what?
Do it. And I'm just like, and then I was like, no, I'm not going to get it. Like, I said no all day.
Yeah.
And then
you sat on it for a little bit.
I was laying in bed at like 11 o'clock at night, looking at it on my phone. And I was like, look, it's an exclusive. And with Hot Toys, if you pretty much don't buy it when it's out, because they don't reproduce anything, it's gone. And if you want to buy it on the like secondary market, like off of eBay or something like that, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Like a lot of money. On the second, $800, $1,000. A lot of money if you want to buy it. So I'm like, look, if I don't get it now, I'm going to regret it. And it was like one of my favorite suits. And that's what I'm saying about attachment. Like, that was one I wanted to get because I had an attachment to it from my childhood. I had an emotional connection to that.
Yeah.
And that's really what kind of goes into collecting and stuff. Like,
big time, yeah.
For example, you bought you've got it here in your hand right now. You've got the Spider-Man PS4, like the advanced suit hot toy. You bought that.
Yep.
Like, you messaged me.
I had to get it.
You messaged me and said, look, mate, if you know, because got my finger on the Hot Toy Pulse.
Yeah.
He's like, look, if you see this figure become available, he's like, let me know because I want it. Like, I want it really bad. And then I sent you the link and you pre-ordered it and it didn't come out for 12 months.
Took like more than that, like a year and a half or a year, whatever. And I was just waiting and waiting for that. But I had the pre-order, so I knew I was going to get it. Yeah, it took so long, but
and that's
so
the thing,
glad.
though. I grew up a Spider-Man kid, and I love Spider-Man.
Me too, yeah.
But that suit doesn't... Like, that's cool. That's a cool hot toy.
Yeah,
but that doesn't appeal to me as much as the Scarlet Spider
exactly,
does.
yeah, because that's more of a... Yeah, it's not... That's
kind of more of a classic suit.
That just came out, that suit.
Yeah, I don't have a real emotional attachment to that. Like, it's cool, but that's not something... Yeah. Because Hot Toys are so expensive as well. Yeah. That's not something that I'm willing to spend $300, $350 on.
I got it because I was mad on the game. Like, in a good way, I mean... I was just
and you're
obsessed.
A massive Spider-Man fan,
and yourself. A massive Spider-Man fan, and the game itself blew me away, and I just can't stop. I still play it like to this day regularly, and I just love it so much. So that advanced suit symbolizes that kind of moment for me, and I just thought it's Spidey. I love the suit, you know. I just
and
wanted
that love, that emotional connection. It's all kind of rolled into one.
I needed
It's like a big ball of love.
Yeah, me and my son, we play the game together. Like, he plays it more than me these days, and I sit and watch him. I just love it, and so we kind of have a bit of a connection there, me and Mason.
And that's something that you guys share.
Yeah, we love it. So I was like, and he loves this hot toy too. He'll see it up. What he does is he'll see the hot toy up on my shelf, and he wants me to pose it. So I'll get it down and I'll do a new pose, and then in the game, he'll do the pose in the game and then pause it and go to photo mode. And he's like, look, Dad, I did the pose. It's pretty funny. Yeah. It's
actually really funny because we were here, like, you've brought Mason around to my house a couple of times. And he's like, I remember you brought him around, like the last time you brought him around. And he came in, he's like, Dad, can we have a look at the toys? And then he's like, ask Brent. And then he come over, he's like, Brent, can you show me your toys? I was like, yeah, sure, boy. So I picked him up and I had him in my arm and I was carrying him around.
Yeah.
And we went around to like all the different rooms and I'm like pointing out everything and he's looking at it. And I had like a couple of Batman figures on my shelf that I bought at a secondhand market here, like last year or whatever. And I got a couple of cool ones. I got a cool Batman and I got a cool Bane and that. But there was this Nightwing figure that I bought, but I didn't really like it. Didn't really have a posability or anything. The back bit was broken, and it was fine, but I didn't love it. And then I kind of said to Mason, I stood there and I was like, yeah, righto, here we go. I was like, I tell you what, Mason. I was like, would you like this Nightwing? And he just like lit up like Christmas. Yeah. And he's like, I don't even think he said anything. He kind of just nodded and went, yeah.
Yeah.
And
he loves that.
And then I gave him the figure, and I had this Captain America as well, and I gave him that. And what did he do with it when he went home? Like, when I gave you the figures out, like, what did he do when you went home? Like, he went home, and he put them on his shelf.
He does. He has his own shelf. You'd laugh if you went around there now. He's got his little side bedside cabinet, and he's got a little mountain of figurines on there now. That's his spot, and he'll put them safely. And little Jackson, my other little 2-year-old, is not allowed to go near it, because if he does, Mason closes his door now, and he's like, I don't want Jackson to get my toys and stuff. And
yeah,
he's like real protective of them, so he treats them. He's real gentle with them, like he looks after toys.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like you sent me the messages and stuff. And you're like, he's like, because normally he's like, it's a kid's room. He's got toys on the floor and stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't
or whatever,
just chuck them around.
He's got like toys all just chucked in a toy box and that. But these 2 figures that I gave him, they had pride of place on his shelf.
Yeah, up on his shelf. He's put them up on the shelf. And that was perfect timing when you gave him the Arkham Knight Batman armored suit. Well, it was like quite a good looking suit. And Nightwing, and it was perfect timing because he was just watching me play parts of like the Arkham games. Like I went through them, I played them all, and he loves Nightwing after watching Arkham Knight and things like that, and especially Batman. So he knew all about him, knew what that suit was, and he's just loving that. He loved it. Perfect.
What do you think it is about collecting? Because obviously there's been a stigma in society about collecting and video games as well. Like, video games are just for kids. Like, there's still this, like, societal stigma, like, when video games were first invented or, first created, they were mainly, like, tailored toward children, or you could buy this for your kids and it would you could leave them and they'd be distracted and play it for hours. But adults could play them as well, a lot of adults. But, there's that thing where, like, video games are for kids. And even now, like, we still have a little bit of that stigma. Like, it's not something that, like, our parents did, because it's only something that really came along when they were older and they had kids. They had us.
Yeah.
So it was something that they got that we were given and that we had. So they never really had this. So we're kind of in, like, uncharted territory and still kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
Same with, like, collecting and action figures and that sort of stuff. Like, society's changing in that. But, video games are for kids. But if you go and look at studies in that now, like, the average gamer age is 34, 35, 32 or something like that.
Exactly.
It's almost mid-30s.
It's because we grow with them as well. Because we were kids and games evolve. They're going to stick around forever, and the kids grow up to be men, and then we just still love them, and then our kids love them, and then... Yeah.
Like, why do you think, like, games have a rating system now? Like, GTA 5 is an R18 plus game. That is, like, the highest rating you can get in Australia.
It's the same with everything, isn't it? Because everything evolves to just suit a certain audience. We said before, now you've got Hot Toys. They're suited for just adults that can afford them, and
they're aimed toward adults.
They're not toys to play with. They're collectibles to put on a shelf.
Yeah, they're like display pieces.
Same with games. Games are now, you'll have certain games that are just suited to 18 plus, like
The Last of Us.
Yeah, all those kind of
like mature themes,
brutal
like
games.
Children dying in the beginning, like suggested pedophiles, you know, and shit like mid game.
Yeah.
All this mature content, even something like God of War, which is a real drama father-son story. Like a father and son bonding. Like, this isn't a game for kids. Like, I'm sure they could play it, but, like, they're missing on, like, the deeper themes and meanings and the narrative and that. Like, it doesn't mean as much to them. But, yeah, that's the thing with, like, action figures or collecting anything like that. Anything that people collect. Like... Particularly for us, because we are in the pop culture realm, and they're the things we collect. We collect statues and that of, like, our favourite characters, or from our favourite movies, or our favourite comics, and things like that. And we're kind of looked down upon, whereas it's okay for, like, for another person who's an adult, because sports are more socially acceptable. Yeah. So... for someone to be a fan of a particular sports team or a basketball player or something like that, and to collect everything about that team. Like, here in Australia, we're mad for AFL. Like, we love Aussie rules football. And I know so many people who are football fans who bleed their team colours, And you go to their sheds and it's just everything about that team. You've got premiership posters on the wall. You've got scarves. You've got, like stuffed like dolls and stuff of like team mascots. You've got bar stools. You've got everything. You've got beer cozies.
Yep.
They wear their clothes. They wear t-shirts. They wear jerseys. They have bumper stickers on their cars. They become club members.
Yeah.
They go to every game. But that's more socially acceptable because that's sports. And sports are more socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Whereas for an adult man to collect action figures or whatever, it's deemed as less mature. You're not mature enough, because toys are made for kids.
Yeah.
Whereas now, that's not actually the fact.
No.
Like, you were telling me before, your brother-in-law,
your
sister's husband,
Yep.
he has a lot, you know how you can buy, like, life-size statues? He has a life-size, full-scale statue of Henry Cavill Superman.
Yeah.
And Henry Cavill's not short. He's like 6'2" or something like that.
It's amazing. It's really cool.
It's this giant full-size statue.
Yeah.
And like, they go for like $6,000. $5-6 grand.
I remember he got it from a mate or something who had those, has collected those, so he got a good deal.
Yeah.
And he's also got like Thor's hammer and Captain America's shield and things like that. He's really into all those things. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And whereas he's not like particularly geeky, and like you probably go around his house and he's got like shit everywhere like I do, like all of, like it's part of your decor.
Wolverine claws, things like that.
Yeah. And so, there are people out there, like I know a lot of people who aren't like particularly like super collectors, but I know so many people who you go to their house and they have like a statue or a figure, or a couple of pop vinyls
at
from
least something,
a movie series or Harry Potter pop vinyls and that.
Pop vinyls are a big one now.
Pop vinyls are huge.
That's brought out the collector in a lot of people, because you'll find most people will probably just have them around their house, won't they? Because they're suited to a certain movie that they like, or the pop vinyls cover everything. So,
absolutely, yeah.
So that's why they're so popular.
Yeah, and they're relatively cheap as well.
Yeah, good enough to buy.
They're always going up in price, but they're still relatively cheap compared to anything else.
They make a good gift too.
They do too, absolutely. But like I've seen people on Instagram who exclusively buy pop vinyls.
Yeah.
And literally their walls are covered because they just have boxes stacked up, like, covering their entire walls. And they collect pop vinyls. Like, I remember telling this story on the pod like ages ago. But like up the road, we've got like a shopping centre up the road from where I live. And I went to the newsagent one day and they've got pop vinyls for sale, and I was just having a look. And the guy who owns the newsagent, he's this older, middle-aged guy, he's probably in his 50s or whatever. And he was unpacking more pop vinyls. And he was just started talking to me about them. He's like, oh, they've got bloody heaps, haven't they? I was just like, oh, yeah. No, I'm just kind of having a look. I don't want to buy any. I'm just kind of curious, seeing what's here. And he's like, we sell so many of these things. He's like, I don't understand it. He's like, there was this woman from Hobart, which is the next city down from us, which is like almost 3 hours away. It's almost a 3-hour drive. He's like, I had this woman from Hobart call looking for specific pop vinyls. And she drove a 3-hour trip and she bought like $500 worth of pop vinyls. She's like, and he was like, I don't understand. Like, why the fuck do people buy this shit? And I'm like, because they like it. Because they have, perhaps they're of characters and that they have connection into. And, it makes them happy. So, like, why shit on something that makes somebody happy? Like, why do people look down on that sort of thing?
Some people don't get it, especially if they're a bit old-fashioned too, because they still have that mindset of thinking it's suited for kids.
That's right. It's like the social thing. Yeah. I remember you like seeing this photo, and it's so like relevant to our situation because you and I have grown up gamers. We've been gamers our entire lives. We've been playing. I was playing video games today, as a matter of fact. Yeah. And I don't ever see myself not playing video games. I will play video games until the day I die.
Yeah, I think we're going to be old
because
men doing
we're that generation. And I remember seeing a photo of like two old guys in like their 60s with grey hair sitting on the couch with like two corded PS1 controllers. Yeah. Like laughing and playing like PS1 games. And I'm like, that's me and Paddy.
Yeah,
that's me and Paddy in 30 years.
I saw a photo like that too. It was like a row of I don't know what it was, but six old guys, and they're like 80 or something, but they're all playing video games. I don't know if it was like a stock photo or something.
Yeah.
But the caption on it was like, this is what our generation will be in the future.
That's exactly right.
In the nursing homes, it'll just be like everyone's playing video games.
And it's like unprecedented as well, because that's something that the last generation never had. That's something that we've exclusively got.
Yeah.
So to feel like by the time like your son's an adult, like by the time your son's our age, things are probably starting to change. It'll be more socially acceptable because, you know, the previous generation will be gone or whatever, and then there'll be us, and we're more accepting of that because that's what we grew up with, and that's fine. That's socially acceptable to us.
Do you think our nursing home rooms will be filled with collectibles as well?
I fucking hope so. Hell yeah.
There's nothing more that I would want to die knowing, like, it's just surrounded by what I love. Like, just these little tokens of just, that's that time. That's
Memories.
Something that everything I collect is usually tied to something kind of memory or something that I love. And that's what it is. Like, like Predator, things like that. I've got this big Predator, and that's just because I just love that entire franchise, just the idea of the Predator. I love his look.
The concept.
Everything.
Yeah.
And it's also tied to when I first saw it as a kid, like when I was like 11 or something, and it shocked me, you know.
And your wife bought you that. That was like one of the first things she bought you, like when you guys started dating.
That was only $150 as well, which is...
Yeah, but it's like an 18, 20-inch figure. It's like a NECA figure. It's fucking huge.
And it's so
It's about the size of my Alien.
It's as detailed, it's as detailed as a hot toy, like anything like that.
Yeah, it's fucking sexy too. But that's the thing about collecting. Like, collecting is about connection and association.
Yep.
So, like, I don't really buy anything I don't have some form of connection to, or some former association with.
Yeah.
So. Like, I have this Alien hot toy because I always want, like, it's not a hot toy, beg your pardon, it's a NECA figure. I have this because the very first time I saw the Alien, I was 18 years old because I was about to turn 18, and my mum was like, look, you're going to be a little bit older. You can pick something a little bit more expensive that you want for your 18th birthday. And there was the Alien Legacy DVD box set. It had all 4 Alien movies. Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection.
Yep.
And I'd never seen any of them. I was like, I would like that. So my mum and dad got me the Alien Legacy box set for my birthday. And I watched all 4 of those movies, and that's where I fell in love with Alien. Like, I was a bit late to the Alien party. I was 18 years old. But that was cool. I have an attachment to that because I love that movie. I love that franchise. I love the design. I love the concepts. I love everything about it. And I remember sharing that with someone, and that someone was you. Yeah. Because you came to my house, like when I still lived with my folks. You came down for a trip, and I'm like, I'm going to show you this movie. And like, you and I watched Alien, and that was the very first time you watched it. And then after that, we watched Borat, and it was funny. But we watched Alien, and you, like, I watched Alien for the first time, like, with you. That was your first time.
So I remember I only saw like a snippet of it when I was younger.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're not allowed to watch it, and then you'd see a scene or something, and I have to hide, and I was too scared. And then I'm finally of age with you, and you showed me. I remember now.
And that's something that
was amazing.
You loved, and you came to love.
You got to see me love that
Experience
franchise
that for the first time
as well. Yeah, you saw that be born.
And that's something we share. That's something that you and I share.
Yeah.
So when I buy stuff now, it's like I said with this hot toy, what inspired this episode.
Yeah.
I really wanted that Scarlet Spider toy. Like, I saw it and I was like, I need it. Like, I fucking need it. I have to have this. And, like, why do I need it? Like, it's funny. Like, when does collection become an addiction, do you think? Like, when does someone go from just a collector of things or someone who likes to buy a certain type of thing? Like, when does it become an addiction?
I think it would turn into addiction when it becomes a problem, when you're buying them too often and it's too much money and it's actually affecting your lifestyle. Probably then I'd call it an addiction. But I think it's, you know, I don't know. It's hard to say because it's such a good thing. It's not like freaking drugs or anything like that.
And it's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Like my mum, it's funny you say that because literally my mum said that to me a couple of years ago. She was like, because I buy like figures and stuff. And I think I just bought like an expensive figure or something like that. And you know what your parents are like? They want you to be like secure and stuff, and like, you know, because parents worry.
Yeah.
So they want you to be like financially secure. And my mum was just like, she just made this passing comment. She's like, "Oh, Brent, like, when are you going to like stop buying these things and that?" Because she worries, I'm like, if something happens, I'm not going to have money because I went out and bought a $200 something, and then I lost 2 tires off my car and I didn't have the money to, but like parents worrying about shit that may never happen because that's what parents do. And I just said to my mum, I was just like, well, Mum, at least like I'm not out buying fucking heroin.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm not buying heroin. I'm not buying drugs. Like I'm literally buying like a figure that's going to sit on my shelf and I'm going to love and look at and go. That's like I said on the other week, like when I brought my case in here and I had my Hot Toys in here and I didn't like it because I couldn't see them. Because like I don't buy shit to like pack it away. Like I'm not the kind of collector who buys shit to pack away to keep for a future day. So like I may sell that or whatever. I'm buying that as a you know, eventually I may sell it. You know, it's an investment. Like, I'm not that guy. Like, if I buy something, I want it out on the shelf. I want to be able to see it.
Yeah, it's for you only. It's meaningful.
It's like it's like a chemical thing as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I don't know if this has happened to you, like, you see something you like and you're like, oh man, that is so cool. I really want that. Like this Spider-Man here, for example. And you buy it and then you get that really good feeling of like, oh man, I got that thing. And then after a while it goes away. And then eventually you get to the point where like, I kind of want to buy another thing. I'm ready to buy another thing. And then you buy another thing and you're like, oh man, look at this. This is so cool. I feel so good because I've got this thing. It's like a chemical. It's like a dopamine hit or something like that.
The good thing about this hot toy I just bought, the Hot Toy Spider-Man advanced suit, is that I still get that little buzz every now and again, every time I pick it up. And if I put a new pose together and I open the box and there's all the little extras and gadgets, I get excited again and it all comes back to me and I'm like, oh, that's great. I'm like, this is why I bought it. So it's something that I can, when I repose it, things like that, I just get that excitement again. And
you get that buzz.
I do, yeah. Yeah. And I love that. And
that's like my Joker. I have the Arkham Asylum Joker hot toy. I got that. That was on sale, and that was a Valentine's Day sale. And I bought that, and I was like, "Oh mate, look at this I got!" And you're like, "Oh fuck, I'm so jealous.
How much?
I want a Joker. Fuck off.
How much do you want for it?
No, you're not getting that." And then I had it, and I had it in kind of a pose.
Yeah.
And I liked the pose it was in, but it wasn't dynamic enough.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. So then I fiddled around with it, and I've got this pose now. It's out there at the moment, but the pose I have him in now feels much more Jokery, inverted commas. It feels more in tune with the character, how he would move. He's kind of taking a step back, and he's got his feet crossed, and it's like he's bowing.
Yeah, it's
and
cool.
He kind of has his gun in his hand, and I've got his head cocked ever so slightly, and he kind of just looks like he's bowing.
Yeah.
And it just feels very Jokery. That's a very awesome Joker pose. And another thing I've got, like right here in the Beard Cave, this Lion-O figure from Thundercats that I have. I was a massive Thundercats fan when I was a kid of the animated cartoon. It was fucking great, and I loved everything about. I loved weapons growing up. So like the sword he has in the show, the Sword of Omens, and I saw that figure, and I was just like, I have to have it. Like I have to have like a quality, cool figure of that character.
It is quality
because that's what it comes down to, and that now like.
Yeah.
Like, we can see stuff that's shit. Like, you can go to, like, a toy shop or a store or something like that and go walk past the toys and they'll have, like, little $10 or $15 figures of Batman. But, like, I fucking love Batman, but I don't want that figure because it's cheap and it's nasty and the paint job's real crap. But whereas a quality hot toy figure comes out, or if I see, like, $100 figure that's really cool. It's got some cool accessories. It looks real quality. It has detailed. A great fucking likeness. And I'm like, that would be something that I'd really love to have on my shelf. Yeah. That's a quality figure.
That's how I see a lot of them now. Like, I'll just... A lot of it goes by quality for me. If it's just super detailed, and Hot Toy does all that too. And that's when you're just like, I really need that. Like... It really brings that urge up because it's something that you wouldn't see any other place do. Like if they're just making a toy to chuck in on to sell in shops for $40, you just can't get that detail. But when it's something a bit more
super high end,
it's
well, not necessarily super high end, but a higher end figure.
Yeah, it feels more special. It's like they've put love into it, and
it's quality.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where I really feel the need to get.
And that's what's happened in like the last 20 years, because like when we were kids and stuff, companies didn't tailor for. They didn't even think of a collecting audience.
Yeah.
They just put shit out and people just collect stuff. And then it wasn't until like the early like noughties, like 2000 pretty much onwards, that companies started to catch on to this and they actually tailor particular lines to adults. So like Hot Toys launched in like 2001, I think. It's a Hong Kong based company and they predominantly put out like 12-inch figures that are of a high quality, like amazing, like sculpts, like head sculpts and stuff, like quality, like clothes and fabric and all that sort of stuff. Very high-end collectible figure.
Yep.
Not a toy. They are called Hot Toys, but it's a collectible. It's not a toy figure that you would give to a 5-year-old to play with. Like, fuck no, don't touch this $400 figure I bought.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's happened slowly over the years. Like NECA, who put out this alien figure, which you're so fond of. Where is a 10 or 12-year-old kid going to come up with $180 to buy this 18-inch figure?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, companies like NECA, Hot Toys, Mezco, Sideshow Collectibles, all these companies in that tailor to an adult audience, because adults have grown up with this stuff. Like, we've come through the age of, like, the superheroes, the comic books, the Saturday morning cartoons, all that sort of stuff. And now they're tailoring this stuff to us.
Ones that I lean more towards now as well is statues, ones that are just made of clay or stone and they're just
resin,
solid.
All that sort of stuff. Yeah. Like high end.
Like that Leo that I bought, the Ninja Turtle, recently.
It's funny you say that because I was about to bring up Ninja Turtles.
And that's heavy. That's and that's just solid and made of, and it's just a statue. So it's not even a toy or something that a kid would even play with. It's just made for the look.
It's literally a statue. It's not a toy. It's not a posable figure. It is a statue.
It's just made for the look. And I'm really into those lately. Like, I would love to just get a whole bunch of stuff that's just like that. And it's, they do things with those that you wouldn't find in a posable figure, because they can spend more detail on, he's got like the sewer, he's standing on like a big pipe and his foot is actually wrapped around the pipe and it looks like he's balancing, and it's very
unique as well. Like, it's not like a turtle sculpt we've seen before. It's quite realistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it looks more like a
hyper-realistic.
Like a hyper-realistic.
If only the movies followed that design, it would just be perfect. But
what do you like now? Like, as an adult collector now, because we're quite different as far as collecting goes.
Yeah, we are a bit different, aren't we?
Like, you like to buy figures or statues and that, but you don't do it as often as I do. Because you have a family and that to support, and whereas I don't, and I just have me to worry about, so I can buy whatever the fuck I want. So, like, what is it for you? Like, what do you look for at the moment? Because obviously we've talked about collecting is about connection and association to stuff we've loved or stuff that we have some kind of bond to. Like, you started collecting Yowies again because that was something that you shared with your mum and you have fond memories of that. And that holds a very special place in your heart. It's not just willy-nilly. Like, you don't go out and just buy Kinder Surprises and they have like little shit fucking spin tops or whatever and you're like, these are cool, I'm going to collect all of these. Like, why the fuck would you? Yeah, you could, but you're not going to because you have no connection to that.
Yeah.
So like what does it for you now? Like, what do you look for? Like, how does collecting work for you now as a 34-year-old man?
Yeah. Well, what I look for, I think, mainly, and like I said, I don't buy them that often, but when I do, it's mainly because I'll see it and it'll stop me in my tracks. If I see it online and then, like that Leo that you shared to me, and I was like, holy shit, and it just brought back all this kind of nostalgia and like everything I've loved about the Ninja Turtles. And it's because it was hyper realistic and detailed, and it's something I'd never seen before. So I think a lot of things for me is the look and the design and the kind of quality, because I think it's probably the artist in me and stuff, that creative side that I can see. You know, I love to watch a lot of sculpture videos, things like that. I'm really into that. So I'm really attracted to the sculpts and the way they've done it. And this just drew me in.
And the visual aesthetic.
Yeah, and I just had to get that. It was the same with a lot of the other ones that I've got too.
Because that's what I find about you. Because as an artist, like your particular art style, like you do work for Marvel and that, but like for the 10 or 15 years before that, you just drew what you loved, what you were a fan of.
Everything.
And everything you did, like every art piece you've pretty much ever done, it's always like incredibly dynamic. There's a lot of movement, there's a lot of action, you know, there's a lot to it. Like it's like you do stationary stuff and that's great, and you're really fucking good at it, but you're really excellent at doing dynamic shit. So like when I look at your shelves, that's kind of almost a reflection of what you do. That's what you love to do, and that's what you're really good at. You have this Spider-Man, like I come around and visit you all the time, and you're in your office or whatever, and you're just hanging out with the kid or whatever, or you're working out or whatever, and I just look up on your shelves and I see like all your figures in that, and they're all very dynamic. Like your Leo, he's hunched down, he's got his swords kind of one behind his back. You've got your Spider-Man on his like extendable stand, so you can put him in like flying poses. He's in like this dynamic webbing out pose.
It's like with Spidey, remember you were telling me it's best to keep them in more of a standing pose or something that's not going to wrinkle them and wreck the material. But
because I'm a big fucking figure nerd, and I learn all this shit.
And
so
I thought about that.
You don't want to have like bent knees on this for too long, because you're going to get like a wear in that particular fabric.
You get that white crease and stuff. It ruins the fabric. But and I thought about that a lot, and I was like, but it's like really, it bored me. I looked at the Spider-Man; he's just kind of standing there, and that was like you said, the thing in me of I love dynamic. So I was like, I'm going to sacrifice it. So I thought I would rather have a posable, like put him in crazy poses and sacrifice having that crease, which it is. It's ruining it. But I would rather just for me personally, I'm like, I want it for display and I want to do crazy stuff with it. So
that's why I bought it.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm going to do it.
If I want it to stay pristine, I would have left it in the box.
Yeah, it's a shame that it's going to be kind of ruined a bit because it is stretching the fabric and stuff, but I'm okay with that.
It's a very expensive figure.
Yeah.
Like it's not a throwaway $30 toy you bought from Kmart.
It all comes down to that thing inside me. It's like a passion. You know, I love just crazy poses. That's the thing with Spider-Man as well. Since a kid, the only reason I ever loved to draw Spider-Man, he's probably my number one favourite thing to draw, is because he's just so dynamic and he's got the craziest poses, and that's just what I enjoy doing. So, same with the figure. I just want to do crazy things with it. And I didn't even think about it until you said that. Everything on my shelf is, I like to make, especially Dragon Ball Z. I'm a massive Dragon Ball Z nut, and
who fucking isn't?
Those figures that I got, I was again attracted to the pose was just so intense. He's like,
that's like I got this Bandai figure of Goku, and he's a Super Saiyan, and he's doing his Kamehameha.
His clothes
and his
are all
arms are
torn
outstretched, but the way that the hair's been sculpted, it's kind of tufted over to the side like it's blowing in the wind, so you get the illusion of the wind and the power and that from the Kamehameha, like blowing his hair back.
It's amazing.
And it's very dynamic, and it looks like something from the show you would see straight out of the cartoon.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's cool. I have to have it. It's a quality figure, and it's like this spitting image resemblance of him as well.
It is. It's great. It's awesome.
But that's me as well. Like, my habits have changed now. I collect a bit of everything. Like, I got back into collecting comics in like the last 4 or 5 years, but in the last probably 6 months, my collecting habits have changed because I am an ever-evolving collector. My ways change as I change. I used to collect like a lot of single issues. I really wanted the single issues because I was a collector and I was collecting them for collecting purposes. But now I don't care about single issues as much because they take up too much room. So now, like in the last 6 months, 8 months, I've bought a lot of trade paperbacks. And they're, just a collections of issues, or particular story arcs. So it's 4 or 5, 6 issues in one book, and they fit on the shelf very fucking well. So I've got I won't lie, in the last probably 8 months, I've honestly probably bought about 35 trade paperbacks.
Yeah, cool.
I've bought fucking heaps, and I've read fucking heaps. They're so good. I bought so many fucking Moon Knight trade paperbacks, and then they finally announced the show, and I was like, fucking yes, I just fucking came in my pants. A fucking Moon Knight. I can't believe it. I love it. But my habits have changed. I do collect. Sometimes I get very high-end collectibles. I have a replica of Thor's hammer from the first Avengers. When that's probably my most expensive piece that I have.
Yeah, that's epic.
It's full size, it's heavy, it's metal and that. There are only 1,400 worldwide. It cost me $800. I've got a few other things. If I buy a high-end collectible now, it's generally a hot toy, but I don't buy them very often because they are quite expensive and they do take up a lot of income. So this year I've probably brought 3 hot toys. I bought this Scarlet Spider, I bought Deathstroke, and I can't remember the one I bought before that. Oh, I bought the Blitzway, Winston Zeddemore from Ghostbusters. That was because that was on sale. It was down to $200.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's too good to fucking leave for $200. And for my birthday, because every year for my birthday I buy myself one awesome thing, and I pre-ordered the Infinity War Thor hot toy, which is fucking sexy.
Yeah, that's going to be
I'm just
good.
waiting for the confirmation email from that so I can finally, get that
really
sent
good.
out to me. But yeah, I am an ever-evolving collector. I do change. I do collect some Gundam model kits now. Yep. 1, because I love robots and shit. And 2, Gundam is awesome. And 3, because I actually really enjoy putting them together. I like cutting them out. I like, cutting off the nubs. I like filing them down. I like putting them together. You
got a whole toolbox and everything.
I have a toolbox that I bought. It's got all my modeling shit in it. All my modeling tools and that. But it's I get the satisfaction from that as well, because it's not just I could just buy a Gundam figure and put it on the shelf. I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. But there's more of a attachment and love to this because I put it together myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And with Gundam model kits, you can put
bit of pride in there as well.
You can put them together and you can just leave them as they are out of the box.
Yeah.
Or you can customize them. I panel line mine, which means you go around all the little divots and grooves and that, and you just ink them with pens, and it just gives it the illusion of depth and shadow. Yeah. So it just gives the figure more pop in that as well. And you can do that as much or as little as you like, or not at all, or, you can go to town and do a full customized, Gundam. But that's something different. When I look at them on the shelf, I remember, putting them together, cutting them out. There's one particular one out there that I spent a lot of time on. I spent a full week putting it together, and it painstakingly did it and panel lined each piece as I cut it off and cleaned it. Yeah. Because normally you panel line, you put it all together and then you just do it. You do it real rough or whatever. But I did each in, even shit you wouldn't see that's covered up by other pieces and that, other armor pieces and that. You don't even see it. But I did it. I did it all before I even put it together. Yeah. So there's I get another form of satisfaction out of those now, because it's something that I put together, not just something I thought, I loved and I bought and I just put on the shelf, and I'm like, damn, that's cool.
Yeah, it definitely means more.
Lately, the last couple of years, I've been starting to downsize. I've kind of been going through my collection. I'm like, okay, what do I love that I can't live without? And then I go, right, it's these particular things.
Yep.
Okay, what stuff do I really like that I bought on a bit of a whim and I loved it at the time, but I don't like it as much? And what stuff did I just buy because I wanted to buy something? And then, that's comes back to the addiction thing. Because I feel at times I do have a bit of a figure problem. I might take it a bit too far or whatever. Which is something I've been working on the last couple of years and I've been getting better at. But, sometimes it's still a battle. You see a figure, right before Christmas, you see a hot toy sale and you're like, oh, fuck, I have to buy that or I'm going to regret it.
Yeah.
So you buy a Scarlet Spider hot toy, but it's okay because I just went full-time at my job and now I get more money every week because I haven't had a full-time job for fucking 10 years. But anyway, that's one pro for me. And that was another reason why I bought that figure, because I have more disposable income now, so... It's another reason why I can get it. But just going back, like, one example I wanted to bring up to you, like, companies tailoring something specific for the adult market. You, myself, and Bob, we did a commentary on the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie.
Yep.
Fucking seminal movie from our childhoods, man. Like, this was big for us when we were kids.
Yeah.
NECA, who have done this alien figure over here, which I'm now pointing to that you love so much and want to buy off me. They had the licensing rights and that to the original Ninja Turtles movie. And they brought out, like your Predator, like the 18-inch, like 1/4 scale, like movie figures, like real big ones. But now they've brought out like the 7-inch figures, like the regular kind of action figure size ones. And there's a 4-pack that you can get. It comes in a big box. It's got all 4 figures, but it's literally like modeled after the VHS cover. So it's the cover. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, and it's got the picture, you know, with Donatello. He's got his arms out and April behind him and stuff, and like they've made it look like the VHS cover. And then you've got the you open it. It's got the window on that. It's got all 4 figures and that in there.
Can you link that to me?
Now you can't say
Serious?
That. 4 Ninja Turtles figures, because Ninja Turtles are still around.
Yeah.
4 Ninja Turtles figures from a movie that's nearly 30 years old that only is really relevant to adults. You know, you can't tell me that that's not targeted at them. Like, that's not targeted at adults. Like, this is a nearly $200 box set of 4 figures. Like, no self-respecting kid, like 10-year-old kid's going to go out and buy that. They'd rather buy a new iPhone or something like that. You know, but... That's the thing, like, tailoring specific products to adults. Yeah. Because that's what these companies do now, because that's where the money is.
Yeah.
Because kids don't have money. Kids don't have disposable income. You know, maybe they do, but kids don't go out and buy toys or action figures like that anymore. They didn't grow up watching, like, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Thundercats, all these shows that were designed to sell toys. Yeah. And we went out and bought those toys. Our parents bought us those toys because we wanted them. Because we created a connection to those shows, to those characters. And then they went out and bought us those toys.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what does it mean to be a collector, Patrick Brown? Is it love?
Yeah, I think it's definitely on a personal level.
Is it obsession? Is it an addiction?
It's definitely a bit of an obsession, I think, as well. In a little bit of a way.
Because so many people...
And an addiction. Like, I'll agree. I'm a bit addicted to it.
To a point, yeah. Like, to a point, we're all addicts. Like, we're all chasing that next figure, that next comic book.
Yeah.
That next whatever. Like, I know so many people who collect so many different things. When I was growing up, my mum is a massive Elvis fan. And she just got Elvis everything. She had this massive, like, Elvis print frame poster thing that had a clock in it. It hung on our wall for like 20 fucking years, like above the TV.
Yeah.
And that's where I looked to tell the time, this massive fucking picture of Elvis.
Yep.
This clock's like like Elvis figures, Elvis coasters, like drink coasters.
Again,
anything Elvis.
It's just a way to show things what you love. It's just, you got to, just a way of putting it out there of
it's a connection.
It is. Same with us. We put all these things up on our shelves and it's to show your personality, really.
Yeah, it's like, that's exactly what it is. It's personality. Like, you can, that's what I've always said about someone. Like, when I go to someone's house, I really want to look at their movie collection because you can tell so much about a person by their movie collection.
Yeah, you can.
And when you walk into someone's house, you can tell so much about their decor. And when you walk into my house, you can tell so much about me and what I love because I have figures and collectibles and movies all over the place on display proudly because this is what I love. This is me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And people collect so much stuff. Like, Kim in the UK, our number 1 UK fan, she's a massive fan of enamel pins. Like, she's a pin collector. Like, when she sent the care package, she sent me, like, a massive handful of pins and that.
Yeah.
Like, all these ones that she thought that I would love. Like, she bought those particularly for me.
Yeah.
Like, by listening to me and my personality and stuff and, like, knowing what I've talked about that I love. And she's, like, tailored those towards me.
Yeah,
because she knew that I would have an emotional connection to those. I would have some form of association with them. And so she's massive on them. She's awesome. Massive on Simpsons as well. Yeah. She's got, like, you follow her on Instagram and that. I follow her on Instagram. And she's like, all these new pins. She's a massive fan of The Simpsons, like Simpsons enamel pins and stuff. It's sick. Like,
that's the thing. Some people are so
People collect stamps.
There's some people that are
coins.
They collect for one certain thing, like big Lord of the Rings fans, and they've got like a big room. Or Harry Potter, they'll have a massive room just dedicated.
Harry Potter fans are fucking everywhere.
Just dedicated to it. There's some people that are that dedicated. They'll have like an entire room just decked out with all different types of things. Doesn't have to be figurines or anything. It can be like a scarf or anything, like
sneakers.
Yeah,
so many people just collect sneakers. Like,
yeah.
And I find that strange. Well, you know, it's different for me because I collect a certain thing, and then I see someone who collects sneakers, and I'm just like, wow, why do you buy so many sneakers? Like, that person just loves to wear shoes. Like, you open their cupboard and there's like 200 pairs of sneakers in there, and I have like 2 pairs of shoes, and I wear a pair of shoes until they wear out, and then I'll just buy another pair. And, you know, but that particular person collects sneakers. And so that's kind of me, like the pot calling the kettle black, like kind of looking, like not looking down, but just, oh, why would that person collect that thing? Because they love it.
Yeah,
and it's what makes them happy.
I like to have different sections in my studio. I've got like a section dedicated to Fallout. I bought that plasma rifle.
The plasma rifle replica, yeah.
Lights up. It's a replica of the gun in the game.
Full size, like plasma rifle replica.
Yeah, because I just saw that in EB Games. I was like, oh, I have to have that. And I just couldn't not buy it.
Because you're a massive Fallout fan.
I love Fallout.
Except for Fallout 76.
And I've even got bottle caps, so like Nuka-Cola caps.
Yeah, Nuka-Cola, yeah.
I've got a bottle of Nuka-Cola Quantum, things like that, and it's just all on the one shelf. And then I've got another shelf dedicated to Alien and Predator. Yeah, I think I got one. Oh, I think I changed it up a bit. I did. You've
got a shelf because you've got a few like 1/6 scale figures, like Hot Toy size. You've got Heisenberg, which is a Blitzway figure. You've got the boss from Metal Gear Solid 3. I've got the boss as well.
Yeah, we both got that.
Because one of our local shops,
it was cheap.
Who was selling Hot Toys because I'm a massive Metal Gear fan. And it's not a figure that I would have bought like for top dollar.
Yeah, me too.
But because it was like a $300 and something dollar figure, and down to like $50.
Yeah, and we both love Snake Eater, so we've played the crap out of that game.
And we got them for $45. We got like a $350 Hot Toy for $45 each.
I remember because that place was closing down, Birchall's,
and they were selling everything off.
Yeah, all Hot Toys were just going, and they marked them right down, didn't they?
Yeah, so selling them off, get rid of them.
I snatched up Heisenberg and I can't remember what else I bought.
You got the Armoured Batman as well?
Yeah, the Armoured Batman.
The Armoured Batman.
The main one that I wanted.
Which is sexy. I want it so
bad. I know.
Bad.
And that was...
every time I go into your shed, I just like, righto, man, I'm going now, and I kind of reach up and I was like, I'll just take this with me then, will I? And you're like, get out of it.
That's one of my favourites. That and the Predator. I just love the big Predator that I've got there, but I love the Batman and now Spidey's next to it.
You collect stuff that you're inspired by.
Yeah,
like pretty much all the the comics and stuff, because you're a massive Invincible fan.
Oh yeah,
but you're very much drawn to Ryan Otley's art style.
Yeah, yep.
And also because it's a great fucking book as well. But you know, it's a double hander for you because it's an artist you admire very much, and it's a great fucking story as well. And
I even went out of my way to buy an action figure based on
Invincible, which you still have.
I have it in the packet, yeah.
Mint, they call that mint on card, mate. They call it mint on card.
There you go. So I've still got that, and there's not many of them because it's not a big mainstream comic. It's
and it's not like a big mainstream line in that as well.
No. So that was really hard to get that toy, but I got one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And that's the sort of thing now, like, the shit's being tailored for adults and, you know, being targeted toward adults because adults are the ones with the disposable income and we're all some form of collector.
What's your favourite, out of all your Hot Toys, your collectibles, what's your top favourite that you would say?
Oh, shit.
Not including the Scarlet Spider that's coming.
Because I grew up a massive Transformers fan.
Yep.
I've loved Transformers my entire life. I love it to this day. The very first, like, the biggest piece I ever bought, like, I created a PayPal account to buy this. This was how long ago it was. This was like 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
There was a replica, like a full-size replica of the Matrix of Leadership from Transformers the movie, the animated movie.
Yep.
And it came on a stand... and it sits on there, and that was my childhood.
Yeah.
And it was $350.
Wow.
And I saw it, and I was like, I really, really want this. Like, this is something that I want.
Yeah.
And I bought that. And I didn't have an eBay account. I didn't have a PayPal account. I didn't even know what to do. So I rang a mate of mine who was techie in Cluey, who I worked with. And I was like, hey, man, like, what do? I want to buy this. What the fuck do I do to make a PayPal account? And then I made a PayPal account, whatever. And then I bought it. So that is like the first kind of sort of very high-end collectible that I bought. It was $350. And that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, to spend on one thing, you know. I love my Thor hammer. I love it very much. But it's the thing about collecting too. It's like, it's really cool to have stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's just as important about how it's displayed.
Yeah.
Because my Hot Toys out there, I have them sitting on a bookshelf. My home gets very dusty. I live very close to 2 major roads. And I get, like, a lot of exhaust smoke and shit, like, coming through this way. And I get, like, a lot of dust and stuff. And I fucking hate dusting. And I especially hate intricate Hot Toys that get dusty. And you need to spend, like, a good half hour to an hour cleaning them all. I really don't like the way my Hot Toys are displayed at the moment. I want to get, like, a DTOF, like a glass cabinet, with a glass door and that, so I can put them in. And they're actually in there on display where they can be seen, you know, like properly displayed.
That'd be
because I think that's like half the battle in like having high-end collectibles because they look really good, but if they're not displayed well, I don't really feel like you get the maximum amount of them because I love those figures out there, but I don't really feel like they're being displayed or at their full potential. If they were like properly displayed in a nice cabinet, my lounge was set up nicely, I'd feel much more better about how they were because they're not toys on display. They are collectibles. You know, I buy them to collect. I don't pick them up and play with them.
Yeah.
I put them in a specific pose and then I pretty much leave them in that. If I'm 100% happy, they're pretty much going to stay in that pose for the rest of their days, you know. But recently I bought that Deathstroke Hot Toy from Arkham Origins. I really wanted it because I just really felt like, you know, they call all these figures like the movie masterpiece or masterpiece figure. And I really felt like this was the first Hot Toy I saw that was a literal masterpiece of like sculpting and design because it's fucking beautiful. Yeah. It is a beautiful, beautiful figure.
It's good.
Yeah, I like that. I have a real nice Wonder Woman out there that Kate bought me for my birthday a couple of years ago. It just looks, the sculpt of it is fucking beautiful. Gal Gadot. That, again, I don't have a nice place for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have quite a few figures I'm proud of. Yeah, I really enjoy. I'll never part with.
I can't really pin down a number one because they're so different. And like when I toss it up between something like Ninja Turtle or Predator or Batman, they're all different things and different genres.
And they all have a different meaning, a different attachment.
Yeah, I can't really pick one
favourite. Some have more of an attachment than others.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. So it's, you know, it's hard to pin one down.
Yeah. But you're not like me though. You have very select range of collectibles.
Yeah.
Whereas I just buy shit all the time.
I would buy more. But
absolutely. We would all buy more. But
I am a bit fussy as well. I'll like it for the, you know, there are certain ones that I'll love and I'll look at them for the first however long, but then I might get a bit bored of them or whatever. But not many. I like that. I love stuff. I love everything. I love everything.
But collecting just comes down to loving things and having an attachment to it.
Yeah.
And as long as you do it smartly, like, you know, when does being a collector turn into being a hoarder?
Yeah.
You know, where do things get too far? Like, where do you cross the line? Like, sometimes I've felt like I've done that, which is why in the last couple of years I've tried to downsize.
Oh, yeah.
And I really downsized, like, big time. And I just had, like, a few figures. But now, like, over the last couple of years, it's kind of like your collection goes through, like, growth spurts. So it'll grow to a point, and then you're like, okay, it's time to, I'm running out of room. It's becoming, like, not an issue, but I'm running out of room, and I'd really like it to look a little less cluttered. So you kind of downsize, you know. The random things, like up here, I was talking about the Nightwing. Like, I bought that Nightwing figure just because, you know, it was a Batman figure and it was cool. And I bought it, but I didn't really love it and that, which was why I was more than happy to give it to Mason. And it's gone to a great home. And he fucking loves it. He loves it.
He's
so
still
that's gone to a good
every
home.
night when I put him to bed, and he likes to play with the toy before he gets it. It's usually Nightwing. Nightwing's his favourite. And he has it, and it sits right next to his thing, so he'll just pick it up and he'll play with it in the dark with his night light on, and he'll muck around with it. And you can just hear him from... I walk past and laugh all the time because I can hear him going...
Yeah.
It's funny.
Creating his own little stories.
Oh, he loves them.
Because he's getting to that age where, you know, he's really just starting to play and create narratives with his toys.
Yeah, he's big on figurines. That's his thing. Yeah, Jackson's more into cars. He likes cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's the connection. It's the love. It's, you know, if something makes you happy, don't let someone fucking shit on that. Just because someone doesn't agree that you buy toys, you know, don't worry about them. You know, do what makes you happy, but be smart about your collecting. Don't become a hoarder because sometimes you tip over the line and definitely live within your means. Like, you know, if you don't have the money to buy something, then maybe not get it. Maybe save it up or whatever, or how important is this figure? You know, like sometimes I've crossed the line in that, like, I've probably spent a little bit more money than I probably should have on a figure at a specific time. And I'm like, oh, you know, I guess I'll just go without eating for a couple of days. No, not to that extent, but you kind of know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll be a little bit short if I buy this, but, you know, it'll be okay.
You're like, worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's all worth it. But yeah, that's the thing about collecting, and that's kind of what I think.
Yeah.
You know? I think it's fine to just get things you love and get
One
things
of the
you like.
ones that I really admire of yours up there is the Judgment Day. You got the T1000, and it's just it looks like one of the original like 1990 something little figurines.
That's if anybody knows, it's the reaction lines where they bring out kind of licensed figures and stuff, but they're kind of more like 3 3/4 scale figures and that, and they kind of look like they've kind of designed to look like classic kind of 80s, like 70s or 80s figures.
Yeah.
And that one up there, again, the newsagent up the road, I was walking past and they've got like a discount table out the front because I was coming from the supermarket walking past it.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw it on that table and they had it marked down to $5. And I'm like,
nice.
I'm not going to not pay $5 for it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing though, because like half of that figure is like, it's not something that you would get out of the packet and put on the shelf. Like you could, but the whole aesthetic of that figure is that it comes on that card. It's designed to look like a figure from 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of that figure. You know, if you could take it out of the packet, but you've just kind of taken away half the fun of it.
Yeah, it's great. Looks like a real classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$5 that cost me. So sometimes, sometimes I get a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I think that's it. I've enjoyed talking about something different for once.
Yeah, it's nice.
Having a bit of a discussion about collecting, and you know, it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, it is.
Because there are so many and varied different collectors out there in the world. And everybody has different opinions and that, and society thinks a lot of different things, but you know, they're slowly coming around, especially with us in the pop culture realm, because especially the last 10 or 12 years, kind of the rise of the superhero, the MCU, and how, you know, people who aren't, you know, didn't grow up comic book or superhero fans, but just are fans of those characters now because of those movies. And you see people everywhere wearing Captain America shirts or Spider-Man shirts or Avengers t-shirts, or they have backpacks, or they buy figures or whatever in that now because that's an attachment that they have to a particular movie that they really liked.
That's it.
And that's where it starts. You like something and you buy it because you like it. And maybe you'll get an attachment to it, maybe you won't. Or maybe you'll move on to something else, and maybe you'll go through phases. Who knows? But collecting. It's a very interesting topic.
I love it.
I feel like we should maybe try and go. I wish there were like more secondhand markets and that around town. You know, because we don't live in a very big area. Yeah. But yeah, I would really like to go down to Antiques Emporium and have a look now that they've done it all up.
Haven't been there for a while? Or?
I haven't been there for a while. I heard he's kind of changed it all, and he's bought all this new stuff, like all these new movies and shit. Like, somebody was from work was telling me like, he's bought all this shit, like all these movies, but they're all like, it's all like cult shit. Yeah. And I'm like, fucking right up my alley. That's right up my alley.
I saw a whole Blu-ray section there. I was looking through them.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
They used to have a big Blu-ray.
What are you doing on Saturday? We're going. Saturday, me and you, we're going. We're going for a drive.
Yeah.
We're going for a drive.
It's good. And when I went there, so I went there recently, but I went there like a couple of years before that, and I bought like Gizmo from Gremlins.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Stuffed Gizmo. Yeah,
I remember that, yeah.
And it had the tag on it. It's like a, yellowy kind of tag now. It used to be white, and it's like 1995 or something like that.
Yeah,
and you could tell it, and it's kind of had that musty smell to it, but I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But
just needs a bit of airing out. Needs a beating.
Yeah.
Bit of spray with some Glen 20, it'll be right.
You'd love that section, though, that's got all the old stuff, like the toy section. That's
well, I'm going down that way soon. I'll call in and have a look.
You should.
Yeah, I really definitely will.
It's upstairs.
Thanks for this, mate. I've thoroughly enjoyed this discussion.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I've got a little deep delve into your psyche.
Yeah.
About your way you're collecting ways.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Thanks everyone for listening. We've got heaps of fucking content coming out planned. We've got so many new shows planned. We've got Rise of Skywalker. We've got Best of 2019. We've got a Witcher Season 1 review when we watch it all. And we've got other cool shit planned. Like some actual really cool shit.
Yeah.
So, there's more coming. So, Patrick Brown, thanks very much. As always, the Marvelous Patrick Brown. I've been Jags. Thanks for listening to the Bearded Geeks, and we'll see you all next week on the Bearded Geeks. Hey!
Oh, yeah, hey!